Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. You're all at home today, well, for the most part, and my guest is Comrade Nelson Ekujimi, Committee for the Protection of the People's Mandate. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Is it Happy Good Friday?
I should think so.
It'll do. It'll do. But Good Friday is Good Friday.
Absolutely.
But Sunday is coming.
Sunday is coming, yes, the Resurrection Day.
Sunday is coming.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go. Let's leave that. So here we are now. Now, yesterday, Ogun State launched its chapter of Amotekun, which is the... How does one describe Amotekun? Because as we'll see in the program, people went... Professor Wale Soyinka was there yesterday. In fact, he's a super marshal. An interesting detail there when the governor was about to decorate him with his cap, and he was wondering how Prof was going to don this particular cap. But just apart from that, it was taken very, very importantly. The governor came out in his full military regalia.
No, Amotekun regalia.
It's very, very important. Thank you very much. It is full Amotekun regalia. Absolutely. Complete with the sash, with the sash of Amotekun. There's still a debate as to what animal actually is Amotekun. Is it the leopard, or is it the?
I think from the skin of the.
Yes.
The skin is carved on the uniform. I think it's more of the leopard.
More of the leopard. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, it does look very much like the leopard skin. I think that argument has been settled. Anyhow, I'm making small talk. The very important aspect of this, of course, is it's a contribution to security without actually competing with the police in any way, without competing with the military. They are simply, as Professor Soyinka was explaining yesterday, and indeed as the governor did, it is really to complement the police in their work. Even I think there was a police boss there yesterday. So everything was cool. But before we go any further, we'll also be joined for this conversation on security in the country and, the different, shall we say, sections, if not regions, their efforts to, contribute to this particular effort. We'll be joined by Honorable Remi Hassan of Ogun State as the program goes on. But let's take a package that we did earlier that went out on our news yesterday.
In response to security challenges confronting the country, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has inaugurated the Amotekun Corps. Speaking about the significance of the Corps, the governor says Amotekun is expected to assist the state in tackling insecurity, especially in Ogun West Senatorial District, with record of kidnapping and attacks on farmers. He noted that they are expected to discharge their duties diligently.
Let me state here that the operatives of the Amotekun security outfit have been carefully chosen and trained, and we are inaugurating and providing the outfit with take-off security vehicles, motorcycles, and communication equipment. We are also providing other necessary logistics, technical backstopping, and political will for an effective take-off and efficient operation. The provision of equipment and equipment of personnel will be a continuous exercise. As they say, to whom so much is given, so much is expected. I expect nothing less than a superlative performance of duties from our operatives. They must diligently add value to strengthen the security of lives and property in Ogun State.
The Noble Laureate Wale Soyinka and other eminent personalities at the event appealed to officers of the Corps to protect their people and not to abuse the opportunity given to them.
Aspect of it I want the security people to understand is that it's not a replacement for you. You're too jealous of your positions, of your uniforms and everything, and where there should be cooperation, there's competition. That's silly. Let's now go beyond that and recognize that this unit is simply to complement what you're already doing. Adequately, that is to the best of your ability. Inadequately, as far as we are supposed to protect, are concerned, the way we feel it. So be happy.
So we're having Amotekun to boot, and I want to assure His Excellency and the good people of Ogun State that we all work closely together in the area of sharing of information as well as in the joint operations. And we expect them to complement existing security outfits that we have in the state. Please share information, share intelligence, work together for the greatness of Ogun State.
The Noble Laureate was also decorated as the Special Marshal of the Corps. With the inauguration of the Corps, it is expected that kidnapping and attacks on farmers will reduce in the state. Kazim Olowe, TVC News, Abeokuta.
Okay, so that's the report, and we've since been joined by Honorable Remy Hassan from Ogun State. Okay, there you go. Good morning, Honorable. Thank you very much for making time for us.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and thanks for having me once again.
Good morning, sir. And in studio here is Comrade Nelson Ekujimi. Okay, to return to you, Honorable Remy, it went very well yesterday by all accounts and by the pictures. Would you think of it as a momentous event or day in, shall we say, the improvement of the security architecture, not just in the southwest region, but in Ogun, Abeokuta, where you were yesterday? I'm sure you were at that particular event.
Yes, I was there. I had no choice. I had to be there. Well, once again, thank you, Uncle Yori. The truth is that you have said it all. Is the beginning of better things to come. One incontrovertible fact that policing in this country is having at this time is the fact that we are grossly under-policed. And Amotekun Initiative is one of the many steps that many of our ensure that those grossly under-policed locations are sufficiently policed. And taking the Amotekun Initiative and Lekuta yesterday is for us in Ogun State the beginning of better things to come. So we just hope and pray that every other thing being equal, we can begin to see the graph of crime going down south.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as you no doubt recall, the governor, your governor, and dignitaries at the event went to great, lengths to explain that what Amotekun was all about was supporting existing security arrangements. There was no clash, no conflict, no competition in the whole idea, and it seems the police understand that, because as you saw, I saw Mr. Jackson there, the Commissioner of Police in your area. So it looks like everybody, would you go as far as saying that there is a full understanding now of not just the scope, but also the logistic intentions of Amotekun?
It is not impossible for onlookers to insinuate that there might be contention and possible competition, but for us in the state, and I believe largely in the entire Southwest, it is about collaboration and cooperation. Because if we all agree that we've been grossly under-policed, and an initiative like this is brought up to help in the policing efficiency of the state, nay, the country, it can only mean that two good heads will always be better than one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm seeing here, what you already know, that the state government, Ogun in this case, has actually contributed handsomely to this effort. I'm talking about material contribution, financial contribution, the logistics, equipment. Is that the way it is, as far as you know, in the Southwest, your contribution in Ogun State there? Is it similar to what can be expected in all of the Southwestern states?
I don't know of any state in the Southwest that is not doing exactly that. I don't know of any. And that means that all our brother governors in the whole Southwest are on the same page as touching on the issue of security.
Okay. Now, turning to studio here, where Comrade Nelson Ekujimi is with me. Comrade, do you see this improving security? Because that was the whole idea. We've heard it times without number that we are seriously inadequate in the numbers of police, for example. Our friend Dennis Amakre, and he makes that point just about every time he has the opportunity to do so, that our men in uniform are grossly inadequate to our needs. Now, Amotekun coming in to complement, you see that this will make a difference.
Well, I hope so. When the idea of Amotekun came on board, when I saw the politics involved, I was not enamored with, the idea of Amotekun, even though I have been a strong advocate of security apparatus to the lowest level of governance.
Okay.
When I say lowest level of governance, I'm talking about as low as the CDA in a community, not even the local government alone, because I also recognize that we are under-policed. Then we have a lot of ungoverned spaces within the Nigerian Federation. And for me, I would have been more enamored with Amotekun, even though I still have my misgivings. But I know that as time goes on, we could still make amendments to correct some areas that we know we are lacking. For example, there's no part of this country that is not under the government of a local government administration. So one would have expected that if we are indeed serious about the security of life and property, which is the paramount responsibility of any government, and should be the primary responsibility of any human being living in a community. Because as I'm sitting down here before you, if I want to live in a community, the first thing I look out for is how secure will I be with my wife and my children. If I know I'm not secured, I will not be able to live in that environment. So it builds on us at this level that we are starting with Amotekun. I would love to see how the structure will work in the local government administration, such that the average resident of a local government can quickly access Amotekun with information about security. Because one of the shortcomings of our security architecture is the lack of buy-in from the populace. The populace sees security as the responsibility of government, that look, I don't have any role to play. But most importantly, like we always say, security is everybody's business. In a situation whereby I observe security lapse or I observe a threat to security, that I can quickly say, oh, my councillor lives in 2 streets away. Let me quickly send a text to him, or let me find a means. That my wife knows the chairman, that my children know somebody that they can quickly run to, even if I'm not around. In that way, we'll see that we'll be developing a viral security architecture. So,
okay. Let me ask you, because at the beginning of this particular, contribution, you said initially, because of the way you thought it was going politically, you were initially not enamored. What exactly did you mean by that? Because this was supposed to be devoid of politics.
Yes, absolutely. You see, the idea of Amotekun generated much debate.
Of course, yes.
When a so-called sociocultural group masquerading as speaking for the Yorubas took it up as a political weapon against the government of the day.
Okay.
And some of us said, no, this is not what... Because if you are crying because the daughter of your leader was killed, we are saying, no, it shouldn't be because of her. Every life matters.
Okay.
It should be because there's a threat to the existence of the corporate existence of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So in that way, we were very cautious in approaching the issue. But be that as it may, one recognizes that, like we have seen now, that there is need for us to complement the efforts of the federal government with regards to security, and that is what has bet Amotekun, which one also expects that to have a formidable security architecture, there's also the need to make the local government administration very, very functional and virile.
Okay. I get you now. Honorable Remy Hassan, how would you react to, first of all, the contention that people, the citizenry, don't always engage or interact with what they see as official organizations, against the wisdom that we've been told that security is everybody's business. There's a part for the citizenry itself to play. First of all, do you agree with that concept altogether, that people might not be trusting and as a result might not be as helpful to Amotekun such as it might be considered?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I want to look at it from another dimension on why that trust element seems to be lacking in the regular policing agency. That it is more on the fact that most of those who are the personnel that are deployed to these communities are alien to those communities. They don't know the places. So when they get there, that's when they start to learn the ropes, and their integration with the people in the community too is at a very slow pace. And God forbid, when you find yourself in a community where crime is on a very high rising trend, you struggle to grapple with all of that. But the initiative of PCRC, for example, that's the Police Community Relations Committee, is meant to look at that, but that is more like reactive, because it is more to do with what is already bad being struggled to now be made good. But for Amotekun, I need you to look at it a lot more dispassionately. Every stakeholder that needs to be part of the process were part and parcel of all the stages that led to what happened yesterday. And that means that each and every stakeholder now sees himself as one entity that must ensure that Amotekun succeed. And to that extent, we have this assurance that Ogun State citizens, as much as possible, will lend all the support required for Amotekun to succeed, because they see it as their own, and we believe that embracing it will be one of the ingredients required for that initiative to succeed. And we are very, very hopeful that it is going to succeed.
Okay, another area of concern. Let me take your comment on this before I bring it into studio. Another area of concern is that, I don't know if it is seen as a Nigerian thing, but people in uniform, even nurses, let it be said, if you wear a uniform, you take on a certain authority, so it is thought. That jibe about nurses, I just added that bit because, but that they might be abusing their positions if they're not careful, and there was serious warning on that because a man in a uniform in some environments in our society here tend to really swagger around a bit and take undue advantage. So there seem to be serious warnings regarding such behavior in organizations like Amotekun. Is that something that you're also concerned about?
Of course, you will see that even in the comment that was captured by your report of that event yesterday by the governor. He emphatically mentioned that trampling on citizens' rights will not be acceptable at all. And that is because, like you rightly observed, it is a trend that we need to stop in this part of the globe. When people put on uniform, the tendency to want to lord things over others is high. But when you begin to instill that mentality from the beginning, it might likely change orientation from what used to be. That norm is a misnomer, and we want to correct it in Ogun State.
Indeed. Comrade, are you on all fours with that position, that it's something that we need to keep in view just to check ourselves?
Yes, it's natural for human beings to want to take advantage of others. But like I've said, if we devolve this Amotekun, it becomes very functional, such that everybody has a bind. For example, I want to see an Amotekun in which opinion leaders, men of influence and women of influence at the lowest level are major stakeholders, are major actors. So that as I'm sitting down here, there are some incidents that will happen in my neighborhood. I'm the first person people will run to. Oh, comrade.
Yeah.
So I want to see it develop to other sectors of the society, such that everybody will know that, look, we're all involved in the security of our environment, and everybody has a role to play.
You think that for the moment we're a bit lethargic in that
believe
regard?
so. We must raise the consciousness. I want us to start raising that consciousness now, such that even the primary school boy, and if we are able to do that, you see that even people that have criminal intents, they will know that, look, there's no hiding place here. We have to relocate. In that way, we'll be helping our security architecture. It's a laudable idea, but like I said, I want to see us do more, because it's not about, the fanfare of the launching and what you do.
Indeed, you're right. And maybe you have a chance to talk about, wanting, really desiring a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we also need to be understanding that Amotekun is all about supporting the existing security and safety arrangements in place.
Yes.
It's about supporting it. You come on if you want, but Mr. Yakub has been waiting for a while. Good morning, Mr. Yakub.
Yeah, good morning, Chibori. This is a welcome development. Sorry, good morning, Mr. Ikujimi.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is
Comrade,
a development change. Yes, Comrade, sorry. Comrade, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is a welcome development, but I have an observation here.
Sure.
My observation is this. Number one, it is good that the governor said what he said yesterday, but I would like them to build that trust. Trust the sense that a station whereby a citizen of the state will have an information at his door or her doorstep, and then will likely to share with Amotekun Corps, so that he will know that deeply in his heart or her heart it is safe, so that he can be able to tell Amotekun that, look at it, this is where these things are there. Are you getting what I'm trying to say, sir? Because if they don't build that trust, the people of the state may not likely share information with them. So they should start early, so that people of the state will really need to share information with them. That is number one. Number two, I see of opinion that the Ogun State House of Assembly, they still have a long way to go. And then including all the remaining 5 states in the southwest, why am I saying that? They need to enact a law whereby they will give opportunity to Amotekun to bear arms. Why am I saying that? If you look at Amotekun as an animal, you will know that they have a fortress that is a stronghold. If Amotekun without an arm, how are they going to face all these criminals? It is impossible. Yes, they have local power, but they should complement it with arms, so that they need to enact a law that will allow them to do that. Good man, and God bless you, Chibori.
Thank you very much for calling in. What Yakub brings up there, I think this is a middle area that can be quite delicate. First of all, there's no competition between the regular security organization, which is the police in this case. But the other points about whether or not, how well the police is trusted, unfortunately, because of past, incidents that have happened where the people have felt that they were actually betrayed by the police. You come forward, the police is your friend, confidentiality. There have been instances, unfortunately, not throughout all of the police, but where people have discovered that it's a dangerous thing to do that in some cases. Now, because it happened in some cases, people have said that's the way all of police are. Now, the Amotekun people that are coming on, the matter of bearing arms, I don't know. No doubt those that are in charge of the policy, as he said, it will take government intervention. I don't know if that's the design.
Well, please, I just quickly want to chip this in. Yes. He talked about trust.
Yes.
You see, trust can only occur, you can only build trust if you have a relationship with somebody.
Yes.
Or you have had records about his history. As we speak now, there are some persons living in local governments that don't know where the police divisional office station is located. That tells you how detached the people are from the present security architecture.
Yeah.
And if we are trying to correct it with Amotekun to complement that, okay, if you don't know where the police is, this is a para security system that you can quickly assess.
Amotekun will be reaching the parts that formal security organizations cannot.
Cannot, yes.
Because of the things you're talking
yes,
about.
and because of the trust. You know, you can only trust somebody, like I said, as I'm sitting down here, because of my contributions in my community. There are lots of things that women or men that that don't know where I was born, they have never met my father. Because of my activities, come to me, give me information, and I can assess.
So you're saying it has to be built.
It has to be built.
So, but it's a great move forward, I think.
Absolutely,
from what you are saying,
I agree.
based on the fact that these will be known people
yes,
in the locale.
In the locality,
because we know, unlike the security arrangement right now, where somebody might be transferred from Bauchi, for example.
In fact, as I'm sitting down before you, I don't know the name of my DPO where I live. I don't know the name of my DCO. But if you ask me for the name of my local government chairman, I can tell you right away. I can tell you the name of my councillor.
Okay.
Because we have interaction daily. If anything occurs in my community, I know these are people I can quickly run to.
Okay. Okay. So this is the kind of thing Amotekun is probably supposed to be doing even more.
Absolutely.
Mr. George, good morning, and thank you for holding on.
Good morning, Uncle Yeri, and good morning to Mr. Nelson.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
I also agree with the concept of Amotekun. But I have a question. I don't know if Mr. Ekugumi can answer it. What level of arms can these Amotekun men bear? From all indications, this type of outfit, I think more regions need it to complement what the federal government is doing on security. It is obvious that the federal government cannot alone handle security effectively. Let these Amotekun people go into the forest and fish out these criminals that come to the roads to kidnap people. I'm sure they can do it. But to what extent are they allowed to bear arms?
Okay.
For them to succeed in it will depend on the level of arms they can bear.
Indeed.
I also agree with Yakub that information sharing is important in the, but I know that they have it. They may not want to disclose it to the public. Their method of sharing information. If anything, if my residence in the southwest for so long is anything to go by, they know how to go about their own things. So that of information, I believe they can go through it. But how about the arms? They need to be well armed because we are almost helpless now. That people have to find a way to help themselves out.
Okay.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. Honorable Remi Hassan, let me hear your thoughts. And they're important because you are as close as you are to the seat of authority in Ogun State. You're a senior special assistant to the governor on public communications. So what is the thought on this question of whether or not, or to what extent, Amotekun can be armed? I think it froze on us for the moment, but in the meantime, you heard the way George put it.
Absolutely.
It's a delicate one, isn't it?
Yes, it's a delicate one, and that is why in coming up with Amotekun, the issue of bearing arms didn't come on board with regards to the establishment. It's about information sharing. And because of the fact that the regular security architecture is very, very far from the people, we want a security architecture that will complement the existing arrangement. And
in spite of organizations like the police community relations associations or something like that they have all over the place.
You want to ask yourself that we need to carry out a study to see how effective the PCRC has been. Because a lot of times you want to see it more as an organization that exists for holding seminars, for holding, press conferences.
Okay, let me come back and we'll continue on that. And maybe the Honorable Remi Hassan will become unfrozen. But in the meantime, Mr. Joshua in Irewolide, good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, good morning.
Thank you.
And good morning to your guest.
Thank you.
This is quite important, Uncle Yori.
Okay.
I commend the Southwest for this initiative. It's absolutely necessary. Oguyori, I want to say this to Nigeria. If we are serious about fighting crimes, it is long overdue that we have standard state police and then the community policing. The community policing is actually much more important. So Oguyori, Amakri said police is not happy with maybe Amotekun or
he said it. Dennis Amakri made that point.
Yes, that they are not happy with other having other arms of security.
Yeah.
Now the reason is this, Oguyori.
Sure.
When you have along the line, you have other policing systems like in the community, in the state. There will be problems among the security setups where you don't know who to trust. You don't know who will give information. So an over-centralized police is easy to abuse. But when you have a state police, you have local community police, then everybody will be handling things, simultaneously. So you are careful not to hide something because you don't know who already has it. So this central thing, my party and my party, we are having the same thing. They could cover up things among themselves. So it is time we decentralize the police system completely. And it's a welcome development and should be encouraged by everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Joshua. I wonder if Honorable Remy is back online. Honorable Remy?
Loud and clear.
Excellent. I wanted you to react, but the network intervened. I think, but I wanted you to contribute, especially as the senior special assistant to the governor on public communication. Contribute on the question of whether or not Amotekun should be armed, and if should be, to what extent, and maybe the whole question of how, because a viewer, Yakub had wondered how much can they do. So did Mr. George without the force of arms. What are your thoughts on that particular aspect of Amotekun?
Now, the rules of engagement are quite defined, and they are to do more of possible investigation and arrest. I don't know of any prosecutorial powers at this time. And of course, the man at the helm of affairs is a retired commissioner of police who is well abreast with the rules of engagement. So I then don't see any likelihood of a breach of whatever limit of powers that they have at this time. But of course, this is a process. It is not an event. And at this stage, when an appraisal of whatever the operation modules is looking like will be taken in the future, maybe some other adjustment will also be made to add a lot more value to whatever it is that they stand for.
Okay.
But I don't envisage any kind of overbearing or overreach from the Amotekun Corps at this stage.
Okay. Maybe this is a fine place to, as I said at the top, yesterday, the governor decorated Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka as a super, but we have a message. We have a message from Professor Wole Soyinka to the Amotekuns. Let's see that now.
What people like me, and we stand ready to contribute, Mr. Governor, what we can contribute to this initiative is monitoring, advise, designs. We use our minds to see how physical initiatives can actually work out rationally. And I want the Amotekun team to understand that we'll be watching you. As the representative of civil society said, we'll be watching you very closely to make sure you do not trample on the rights of citizens. You've been created to assist them, to protect them, to be part of them, to live inside them, to gather information, to say to the police, the military, we cannot handle this but we have seen this. Would you like to take a look and assist? You're not here because you now have a uniform to start behaving like some other security agencies who shall be nameless, the way they've been dealing. You have to set an example, say that you are a civic unit. As I stand, I'm glad the Commissioner of Police is here. My home here in this place has been burglarized. I don't say anything, I don't say much. We've been hit several times. Look in your records. You see how they broke into my place when I was away. Very sensitive material was carried away, both security and everything. Till today, even though this case I was told went to SARS, and also went to NSA, till my cabinet says he knows about one of the more serious ones. Till today, I've had no feedback that, sorry, we didn't make any headway. And so I'm compelled to resort to do it yourself, And since then, I have not been troubled. But why? I pay taxes. Why should I not rely on the protective services of my state, of my nation? It's absurd. And so I hope that you'll be able to work with Amotekun and give me a clue about what really happened to all the things which were stolen from my house and who these people were who got away with it. We'll talk later on. So Amotekun, we're watching you. If you abuse your uniform before Ogun strikes you, we would have dealt with you.
Okay then, those who follow the professor's writings especially will know that Ogun is one of his muses. So, as he said there, interesting, he said that before Ogun even strikes you, we ourselves, but seriously, he sort of put it out, he outlined the fact that we the people are going to be watching you very, very, very carefully. So you can't just, the concerns we were expressing earlier, you can't just do anyhow, as we say locally. Anyhow is a language, is a word that fits in. You can't do anyhow. We will be watching you, and as you said, there will be repercussions. And if Amotekun loses the trust of the people, then really, its goose is cooked, so to speak. So it's, the professor explained there, and I think also Honorable Hassan, that it's going to be more of investigative, reaching the parts that the army can't reach. The professor mentioned the army, police, intelligence, the army. You can, because of your position, come across information that they might not be able to access. You're then going to be the link. That's essentially the bulk of the work of Amotekun, as Remy Hassan put it, for now. We might move forward and there might need to be adjustments, but for now, that's the way it is.
Yes, the functions of Amotekun has been properly defined. But look at it this way. Even information sharing,
yes,
requires a lot of, trust. Because persons who have information about security threats will be more interested in their own safety if they divulge such information. So they will not be prepared to divulge such information to people that, will unmask the informants. As we speak, why Amotekun is good is that we are going to have a security system that will complement the existing arrangement, such that the practitioners, the actors in Amotekun, will be persons living in that particular environment, in that locality. That, okay, for example, let me give you an instance. I live on a street.
Could I beg your pardon? Okay. Forgive me for this, what I've just done. I'm interrupting you so rudely. Yeah. But Mazi Okorafo from Imo State is on the line, so you can come back and continue with the illustration. Good morning, Mazi.
It's from Abia State, not Imo State.
Oh, I spoiled it. Mazi from Abia. Good morning,
sir. Good morning, Sayuri. Good morning, Mr. Nelson.
Indeed.
You see, Sayuri and Oga Nelson, what we have to do, in as much as Ogun said I've inaugurated this Amotekun, its binocular lenses is good for them if they can get these gadgets for them. Now, to me, I would just suggest to the authority concerned for the Amotekun that 3/4 of Amotekun should be inside all those forests. Then the other 1/4 should be within the vicinity. Reason, all these things migrate from the forest or from the bush. If they can gather all the information, they were talking about intelligence gathering. This is where we need them. And the authority, the military, the police, other military agencies, other agencies, and of security, the government, federal government, to do what? They should have a direct link with them with these gadgets. Now, Sayori, if these people will go now, I think that's what the president said something, is it 2 days ago, 3 days ago, that the military should make sure that they do what? They track down all the sources. Now, the same message passed down to the governors of all the states, and the governors of all the states goes out to the local government authorities. The local government authorities should now make use of all this, recruit more people to serve as Amotekun personnel, to send them into the bush. We are talking about community police. It starts from here. In as much as we have tracked down all those terrorists, all those criminals that are already settled in the bush, and locate them and destroy where they are. I bet you that, look, very soon now, rainy season will just be ravaging the whole country, and it's time for famine. Now, where the forests and the bush are not conducive for farm, how do we get food? We are talking about food security. We have to do what? Safeguard our bush now before the rainy season. So there is need for the government authority or anybody authority. The financing of this is not an easy thing. People, senators, House of Rep member, any honorable member, people, spirited government, people that have money to do what? Channel their fund into all these Amotekun funds so that they do what? Get the gadgets and get the material to do what? To equip them. The earlier we equip them, the better for us. You see our schools, all these villages, people start closing schools because of all these criminals, so-called the terrorists.
Thank you very much, Mazi, for calling in. And we're honorable to Honorable Remi Hassan. To come back to you, yes, I take the comments you made about arming Amotekun and how that is not on the cards for now. It's a different kind of operation, that modus operandi that they have. And what I was interested, or shall I say a bit amused, being a Yoruba man myself, when the prof spoke about before Ogun will strike you, we ourselves and so. I wonder if part of the power of Amotekun, remember the cultural matter about in Yoruba land, it is said that if a thief visited a house, he would just start sweeping in there. He was sweeping in there till daybreak. People will arrive, and I'm wondering if maybe Amotekun being what it is, if they can command, if you can't bear arms, but you can command a person to just stay there, just stay right there, and then police, we need your attention, please. We have some people here that I'm sure you want to investigate. I don't know how much of that whole notion is a myth and how much of it is actually fact. Honorable Remi Hassan.
Thank you very much once again, Yori. First of all, my designation in government is Special Advisor, Media and Public Communication, not Senior Special Assistant.
Special Advisor, Media and Communications.
Public Communication.
Public Communication. Thank you very much, sir. I take the correction and I apologize for getting it wrong.
Yes. Now, you know that in our legal jurisprudence, you will not find any recognition being given to traditional powers in any way whatsoever. I think the best is just maybe whatever it is that you believe in, you use as a means of swearing in court. I think that's the extent to which it is admissible in our system here. However, like I mentioned earlier, the rules of engagement, some will be written, some will be unwritten, but not out of the legal framework that set up the Amotekun Corps. So if psychic powers are being used to ease their operation, why not if not? But the truth of the matter is that an arrest is an arrest. It doesn't matter how it is made, as long as fundamental human rights are not violated.
Okay.
So,
and not all arrests involve handcuffs.
The entire process.
There can be traditional handcuffs. I say not all arrests. There can be traditional handcuffs. Ada, good morning, ma'am.
Oh, hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ada. We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Good morning to your guests, too.
Yes. Good morning. Thank you.
Yes, Amotekun is a welcome development, but for it to succeed, the other southwest, that is all the southwestern states should make sure they start off their own Amotekun. They should take off at the same time, simultaneously.
Okay.
Even the southeast and the south. Because when you do it in uniform, these criminals will not start going to seek for safe haven elsewhere. That is one. Then, just like the previous scholars have said, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Yori, if they go into that bush, the way you are talking about the bush, those boys, they are not. And then the criminals are there with AK-47 and AK-49. I didn't even know there's an AK-49. Ignorance. It was through Babajide in Council. You know, they have for the AK-47, AK-49. And then our children, these youth will go there and they will massacre them. That is a disaster. That is just like setting them on a suicide squad, as far as I'm concerned. So what I'm trying to say here is that let them do what they can, the needful. That is the government of the day or whatever. Let them do the needful. We need the habits of the law. I'm so happy Professor Revolution is part of it. You know, we need the habits of the law to get them, their arms. This one is going to be a disaster. You're going to hear what is going to happen. Look at them, the criminals. See how they attack the military base. And then you're telling people to go there with their arms. Unless they are relying on Shango and Ogun. You know, but let them bear arms. That's why I'm adding to the Shango and Ogun. Let us not, push our stuff further. That's
okay. I hear you. Thank you very much for calling in, Ada. So Ada's point of view is that, look, in addition to whatever the cultural or traditional methods of arrest might be, don't be without consideration for some other assistances. But I think Honorable Remi Hassan sort of explained it pretty well.
I think
that might be future.
To quickly add.
Can I just, sorry, okay. I'll come back to studio. Let me just release Honorable Remi Hassan. I want to thank you very much for making time for us this morning. Honorable Remi Hassan, as always, and we do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Uncle Yori.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Honorable Remi Hassan, there, Special Advisor to the Governor on Media and Public Communication. I apologize for getting it wrong the first time around. So, yes.
So what I was saying is that I think the issue of bearing arms, as we go along the routes, the need will arise. Don't forget, if my knowledge serves me right, when the Nigerian Customs Service was established, I'm sure they were not carrying firearms. Okay. So also was the Nigerian Security and the Civil Defense.
Yes, they weren't to begin with.
When they, as the need arises. I know Amotekun has started. As time goes on, we'll see the challenges, we'll notice the pitfalls, and as a responsible society, we'll do the needful with regards to enhancing its operations. And most importantly, as we have launched Amotekun in Ogun State and some other southwest states, one hopes that Amotekun will be devolved to the local level, such that the responsiveness that you need to attend to security matters, because security is about life and property. A life lost cannot be regained.
Indeed.
So if we have a system in which the citizens themselves will play their active role, which is very, very paramount to enhancing security, all well and good. I was trying to make an allusion to an incident in my locality where people saw some group of boys emerge suddenly, and I was the first point of call as the then secretary of the CDA, because they didn't know the police authorities. And I quickly contacted the chairman, and we went out in search of those people and informed the police to carry out their duties. That is the Amotekun
result.
Yes, and that is the Amotekun role we play.
I just thought we might spend a few seconds on the other thing I wanted to talk about this morning, which is the U.S. State Department. It has released this report, and it's still generally not very complimentary of Nigeria. But people have selected out their comment on the whole Lekki debacle. Yeah. Where the U.S. is now saying that, well, you know what, the Nigerian government has said that there is no such thing as the carnage that was alleged. And the U.S. State Department has said that it is not able to independently verify the claims of the other people who said that there was massacre and all of that. So to that extent, they've moved from, I don't know if it was the U.S. government or if it was people like CNN and all those people who were the actual people who were, as it were, pushing the whole narrative that, the Nigerian military has been massacring its citizens. But the U.S. State Department report, which they said they'll be updating in mid-2021, as I'm sure you've seen it, have said that right now they are not in a position to, their position is that they can't find anybody to independently verify what people are saying contrary to what the federal government has said. So it's a little move forward, isn't it?
No, absolutely. It's, it confirms the position some of us have held that, look, for us to be convinced about this issue, these allegations that first, was touted as a massacre, later on, because of the fact that when we asked for evidences, a lot of us were insulted, were abused, we were threatened, we were caused. And we said, look, we are higher animals. Why I'm different from a dog or a goat is because
show us evidence of these things you are alleging.
At the last presidential election in U.S., former President Donald Trump said there were irregularities, and people said, come up with your facts. It is not enough for you to say it. And that was exactly, and that is exactly the position of the U.S. authorities.
Exactly.
That, look, there has been no...
Because the U.S. State Department. I think we're going to have to leave it there. But I just wanted to give that a few seconds as well. People can check it out, online if they want. As I said, it's not as if it's a complimentary report, generally speaking. There's still much that I imagine that we might be contending. But this very, very important one that went around the world, the U.S. has sort of pulled back from the earlier narrative. So that's our program today. Please remember, we're in a state of emergency health-wise. You got to keep on masking up. You've got to, as a matter of fact, if you're not washing your hands at least 6 times a day, I would guess, if you're not washing your hands 6 times a day, if you prefer to use cutlery instead of fingers. So don't be counting the 3 times you do in the morning, you're doing there. If you, you probably you aren't washing your hands often enough. And then there's the whole matter about avoid crowds if it's not necessary. So that's our program today. Mask up, socially distance, and what's that other one? Get the jab if you will.
Absolutely.
Consider getting the jab.
If you fall within the category.
If you fall, of course, not everybody. Yeah. If you fall within the category, and we'll come and talk about that, because some countries are opening up the categories
because of the quantity of vaccines we have. Okay, we cannot attend to everybody. So
for now,
now it's for the frontline workers.
There you go, and the aged,
and the
aged,
selected
senior citizens.
Senior citizens.
Yes, senior citizens. Okay, that's our program today. I'll see you on Monday, God willing. Yori Folani. Bye bye for now.